The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
There was a lawyer who, to disconcert Jesus, stood up and said to him, "Master, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" He says to him, "What is written in the law? What do you read there?" He replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." "You have answered right," said Jesus. "Do this, and life is yours." But the man was anxious to justify himself and said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man was once on his way down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of brigands. They took all he had, beat him, and then made off, leaving him half dead. Now a priest happens to be traveling down the same road, but when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. In the same way, a Levite who came to the place saw him and passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan traveler who came upon him was moved with compassion when he saw him. He went up and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine on them. He then lifted him onto his own mount, carried him to the inn, and looked after him. Next day he took out 2 denarii and handed them to the innkeeper. "Look after him," he said, "and on my way back I will make good any extra expense you have." Which of these three do you think proved himself a neighbor to the man who fell into the brigand's hands? "The one who took pity on him," he replied. Jesus said to him, "Go and do the same yourself." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Who is your neighbor? It's a very difficult question and also very easy to answer, because when we talk about our neighbor, we think about people who are close to us. I have a neighbor, these are my neighbors, all those who are living around me. But Saint Francis is one of those who really answer this question in a way that Christ has explained in the gospel today. When he gave out everything that he owned, he gave up everything that he owned. He had a lot of pity for the poor, for those who were going through difficulties. He gave out all his wealth, and he lived the streets in abject poverty with his followers. They lived on just what people gave them. And remember, he came from a very rich family, and he went down into living in abject poverty, giving out everything. He took care not only of the poor, not only of the sick, but also even of the environments and the birds and the animals. They were friendly to him because of the love that he showed for everything around him. It didn't matter where you came from, it didn't matter if he knew you or not. All he wanted was to give out away to the poor. And then we still ask this question: who is my neighbor? Who do I need to care for? Because the law says you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. So, to what extent can we say this person is my neighbor? Can somebody who I've never seen, somebody who lives so far away from me, be my neighbor? I think the gospel answers this question about the Samaritan who helps a complete foreigner. I just want to say that there are many things that can make us to justify ourselves and say there is no reason to actually reach out to others. First of all, because we do not know them, we do not know their situation, we do not know what led them to that situation. Just like this priest and the Levite, the priest was coming down, maybe let's say the priest of these days, us, we are rushing for mass and we find something happening, and it's almost maybe we are almost 10 minutes late, and we are rushing for mass, and that we find a situation which needs attention. Maybe I'm driving, and then I find somebody who is I find maybe unconscious, and in my mind I'm going for mass, and another thing I have to take this person, could take this person to the hospital, and he'll be saved. So we find that kind of situation, and the priest says, no, 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 no. I have to go for mass because people are waiting for me. Remember, he didn't do anything wrong. The priest didn't do anything wrong by doing that because he was going for mass. He's going there to do something for God. The Levite also, who knows everything about the law, maybe he's in a haste for a sacrifice or something, and he finds this man on the way, and he says, no, 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 I have to go for this. So these are all excuses. Okay? And we can find also such situations in life. We say, I have no idea what is happening. I don't know about this person. So we find ourselves saying, really, it's not my problem. It's not my issue. It's their issue. It's not mine. And we have had situations like, okay, let's say ecology, for instance. We talk about ecology because St. Francis is a patron saint of the ecosystem. We say now the environments we know there is a very big call now to take care of the environment, especially with everything happening, the heat waves, the weather changes, things that we know is going to affect the generation, many generations after us, not even many generations. I mean, very soon we are even feeling the effects now. And anyway, it's not really my problem, it's the problem of those who are really suffering. Think about when it's raining, it's a very good time to sleep. I always say, think about those people who do not even have a roof over their head, what rain means for them. Very difficult. Okay. Now, what I want to say is this: we do not make mistakes when we don't care for others. When you have your own business to follow, it's not a bad thing. If you are going somewhere and you see people quarreling and fighting, I mean you don't know them, so be on your way. It is not bad to do that. It is not your mistake. And if you are held responsible by the police, for instance, and say, why did you not? And then you will be saying, I did nothing. I did nothing. That is what you say to the police. I did nothing. But you know what? That is actually our mistake, that we did nothing. The mistake of the priest was he did nothing. The mistake of the Levite is he did nothing. And you see, Matthew brings this very, very clear in the Gospel in chapter 25 from verse 40. He says, what you did not do to the least of my brothers and sisters, you did not do to me. What you did not do, because they were saying, we didn't see you, we didn't. I said, of course, that is really the sin, that you did nothing. It's a sin of omission, and at times we get busy. You know, the human being is so self-preservative. We want to always protect ourselves. We don't want to get involved in the things that are happening to people, and it becomes an escape route for us not to reach out to others, and that becomes our sin. That we see all these things happening, we do nothing. The environment is coming down, and we see go around throwing things. After all, it's not affecting us because that is the sin, that we did nothing. We see somebody who is poor on the road, we pass judgment on them and we say, no, they are going to use it on drugs and all those things. We did nothing. Our neighbors are fighting, and we know we can give them maybe an advice and it's going to settle the problem. It's not really my problem, it's their issue. The sin there is that we did nothing. And I think this is the sin of the priest and the Levite in the gospel of today. That is our own sinfulness when we pass by our neighbors and we see people who are asking, whom we know that they need our help. We close our eyes and we do nothing. It's something that we can think about. It's something that we can reflect on. and ask ourselves, how many times have I passed by and I did nothing?